is OSS. We are going to revisit some of the videos from my past. I've learned a lot about cameras and stuff and lighting and what have you from then to now. I didn't used to let it bother me, but as I'm trying to teach people, I want people to learn. I'm actually still trying to learn myself a lot of things, but the things that I do have a grasp on, an understanding of, I want to teach others. And I hate giving trolls stuff to work with. So we're going to take this can and we're going to make a hobo stove. Not what the mainstream media or a lot of people on here are calling a hobo stove. It's something that got the name as a hobo stove much later. This is the way I was taught to do it. Okay? So stay tuned. I'll walk you through it. It's pretty simple stuff. I was actually going to hunt around and see if I could find all the tools I used to do this last time. Use the same tools. But I did find the same pocket knife. Step one, get rid of all the trash. Back in the day you could have held on to this for kindling, but it's all plastic now. If anybody sees a tree hugger with a plastic bottle in their hand, have some words to them. This is crazy. I call it a hobo stove. This is actually a hobo stove. This is the little fire container thing that a hobo, I mean that's a guy from the 30s, is going to run around with and use. It's not, if he could find one of these. The things they call hobo stoves nowadays aren't something a hobo would have had access to. But you need a can opener, and a pocket knife, and you can do the rest of it. A clothes hanger or something like that, piece of wire or whatever, comes in handy for this part up here, but that's not where we're at. I mean, one of the fastest, easiest to do things ever. Find your center line. You want these to be even, so you know if you do one here, then you go straight down. You do one here, and then you come up here, and you put that one on the bottom. Same thing. And these don't have to be that big. You don't need that much here. You don't want to starve it though. So the 4 holes would probably be enough, but I like to do that all the way around. Ta-da! I can build a fire in that. The heat will come up here. Back in the day, this would have been cut out, and so you would have just folded in the sides. Would have taken a cheap pair of pliers and you would have folded the sides in, and it would have made a place for your pot to sit on. and for the heat to get out. And I could do the same thing with, I could cut this out and we could do the same thing. It may not be stiff enough to affect any difference. Let's see. I haven't tried this. We're going to learn this together. Okay, we got a draw. There, it's drawing here. It's not drawing here. So let's see if we can get it. And if we have to, we can always take this out. Because we do have a can opener. Now, somebody out there is going to freak out any second now about me using my pocket knife like this. It's okay. It's my pocket knife. I won't get mad. I've seen guys sit there and try to do all this fancy stuff with drills and all that stuff. And this is how you make a hobo stove. Let me tell you this, if the hobo has access to power tools, then guess what? He ain't much of a hobo, quite honestly. I wouldn't put no money in his pot. The chances are he's a whole lot more like that guy out there panhandling with the smartphone than he is a hobo. And anyway, if you get that loose, it's really just that simple. Did I see that? I don't know if I got to see that. Just pin that in. Fix this. And you created, however, a place for the fire to now vent out on one side, and you have to do the same over here. Because the fire has to be able to draw both directions. Break that out there. And I'm not squeezing, I'm putting that on there and I'm trying, I'm pulling, just because if I squeeze I'm going to poke a hole here. I'm squeezing to lay that over. Just pulling it. And now your pot, in theory, will stand on there. If I can get it out around your pot, and you're cooking. Now, if you want to, if it's where you're going to be doing a lot of cooking, you can cut a pocket in here, and not a pocket, it's a little hole. And then you can feed twigs in it. You know, do that. We'll just make it full blown. And you don't go all the way to the top. You need a little bit of space for structural integrity. And this is very complicated. You got the deals here and here. Remember, you're putting twigs in here. You're not putting actual firewood, so don't folk getting all crazy. It's really hard to do this without having to reset the camera to make it easier on me to do it as opposed to easier on y'all to see it. But now I suggest, so you don't cut yourself, that goes inside. Ta-da. Nothing fancy. Wasn't even trying to do it fast. That's done. I will try to attach a video of me making a pot of coffee or a can of soup or something on it. But there it is. That's the hobo stuff. Honestly, you could have done the whole thing with just a pocket knife or your bushcraft knife or whatever. You could have done the whole thing with this. This would have been this top holder. Wouldn't have been as neat. You could have turned around and you could have poked holes, these holes in the outside of this, and it still would have allowed the heat to work here, but it would have allowed the fire to draw out. Nothing expensive. The other one that I made 3 years ago or whatever, it went to the lake with me 4 or 5 times. It's still out there. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with it. Just my son bought me one of the fancy ones. There you go.